This is Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio. SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner.
Hey, everybody. What's going on? Kaplan and Crew with Grande and the Brown Man, and we are in the 7 Mile Casino studios, 7milecasino.com. Mentioned in the opening segment that if you are a sports fan, this weekend was for you. For me, I told you guys, Friday night, Rangers and Angels. Saturday night, Padres, Dodgers, while watching the Lakers and the Warriors. Earlier in the day, the Kentucky Derby. On Sunday, F1 in Miami, Philly against Boston, Suns against the Nuggets, Panthers versus the Maple Leafs in NHL action. Even the Canelo fight, like I didn't watch it, but I just followed along. This was a sports
UFC
dream weekend. Yeah, what happened in UFC? I didn't follow that at all.
Yeah, it was the lightweight champion. I didn't watch it either, to be honest with you, but it was a pay-per-view, so I'm sure there was a lot of people watching it.
But just think about that. Kentucky Derby is kind of the Super Bowl of horse racing. You have a UFC pay-per-view. You have a Canelo fight. You have Padres, Dodgers, Lakers, Warriors, an F1 race in Miami. The Suns Nuggets was out of control last night. We'll get to that story coming up. Philly, Boston, or like NHL playoffs, these are way on the back burner. These are coming in 9th and 10th place, but still they are huge sporting events this weekend. What a great weekend to be a sports fan. All right, let's start off with the Padres and the Dodgers. So let's start off with Friday night. Padres get the win on Friday night. And honestly, the storyline is pretty much that Tatis hits 2 home runs, but the Padres beat Clayton Kershaw. And when the game is over, rather than analyzing Friday night's game, the story that has made its way through the weekend is that when the game is over, the Padres in-house entertainment division puts a video up on the Jumbotron out in left field of Kershaw's face and a teardrop coming down. With like Padres win logos all over the place. And man, are people who are not Padre fans, man, are people pissed. Can I start off by suggesting to anybody who's a Dodger fan who's upset about this? First of all, have a sense of humor. Okay? Let's start off with have a sense of humor. Then let's move on to the Dodgers over the course of time, this core of players, they've done plenty of talking on their own, right? Okay. And then lastly, on the Padres side, you had to know this was coming. And it might have been just a little premature. You know, you did just beat Kershaw. I'll grant you that. But there were still 2 games left in the series. So all I'm saying is, for those of you that were so offended, look, there's the legendary Clayton Kershaw, and they have a teardrop coming down his eye. Get a sense of humor. That's number one. Okay. For the Padres, just don't be bigger than who you are currently. Win your way into the status that you want. I thought it was funny, but there still were 2 games left. What'd you guys think?
I didn't think anything of it. Like, I didn't think a single thing of it when I saw it. We were watching the game at the Airbnb before we went out for Cinco de Mayo, and I saw it right away on social media. And honestly, none of the Dodger fans said anything about it. None of us said anything about it. It was just like, and by the way, it wasn't like we borrowed that meme from a Kershaw. Like Kershaw had that reaction when the Padres beat the Dodgers in the playoffs when we were all there on that Saturday night. That is where that picture came from. So it was the last time we played the Dodgers, that happened, and then we play them again. You beat Kershaw. Tatis gives up 2 home runs, or hits 2 home runs. You just move on. The amount of social media backlash that I heard from old people, and I will call out old people because I don't think I saw a single young person say anything about it. It was just crazy. Like the UT columnist coming out. I was just like, dude.
Who was the UT columnist who came out and said something?
It was or what is he now? What is
who?
Posner.
Jay Posner, the former editor of the Union Tribune. He's now retired.
Guy.
Yeah, what he did.
Like, I don't know, just I saw some tweets and then like, you know, when you tweet something and the majority of people don't agree with you, and then you have to send off 4 or 5 more explaining your rationale of it all. Like, that's when you know you're in the minority. when you have 4 or 5 follow-up tweets to an original. I don't know. It's just so stupid, honestly.
One, the fact that they could have had 2 other options, because Freddie Freeman's a big old crybaby, so you definitely could have put him up there. If you are mad about this and you're an old person, you also can't be old baseball guy who wants to throw at guys' heads when they don't, when they pimp a home run. Like, which guy are you? Are you tough guy, or are you like strict baseball rules guy? Because you can't be both. You can't be both. Like, what's wrong with the opposing team? The team making fun of the rival player. Like, that's happened in high school. It happens in college. And it should be able to happen in the Major League Baseball world. But for some reason, again, these are the people we have to get rid of. If you don't want fun in the sport, go away. Because
but Brown, it's the old school
nobody's
guy.
got 4 hours to watch baseball anymore, so they had to make the game faster. Okay, they're trying to reach a different demographic.
True.
You're not it.
Yep, that's right. And listen, what baseball has attempted to do by making the game faster is obviously become more attractive to young people.
It's working too, by the way.
Oh, it's working great, because baseball, whether you're sitting at home watching it or you're sitting in a ballpark watching it, it's especially for young kids, it's paced in a way where they can be on their phones, look up, oh, pitch, come back to my phone, oh, look, another pitch, come back to my phone. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're appealing to younger people who like bat flips, who like showboating as you're tossing a ball up in the air and then catching it and then throwing a guy out at first base. Young people today, I think, like baseball a lot more than they did just last year or certainly 10 years ago. So for those of us that weren't offended by it and kind of just thought it was funny, that's life, man. For those of you that were Dodger fans in particular that were pissed, how dare they disrespect our legend that way? Bro, it's a freaking baseball game, dude.
Yeah. And I love I love people that go on social media and talk about class. It is the lamest take of all time when people are like, that is so classless. It's like, you think LA is going to be full of classy individuals this weekend when Fernando Tatis takes the field? Or is it their turn? Because that's what happens when you play at home, when you play on the road. That is sport. So I don't like, did social media come into real life? Like, that's something that you would normally see on social media.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe some people had an issue like, oh, now it's happening on the field. But dude, even Clayton Kershaw was like, well, I got to pitch better and don't give him that opportunity.
Right. Well, you talk about class. So did you see
classless?
Did you see yesterday somebody brought a sign, like a big sheet at Petco Park, and they hung it over, and it said something
Saturday.
Okay, well,
yeah, when we were there,
I'm gonna bring up this story, chronology aside, for one quick second. Somebody wrote this crazy ass sign for Mookie Betts, and then of course, here it is right here. Alex is showing it to us. Mookie eats the corn the long way, and that's freaking hilarious. Okay,
to you. But is it funny to older people and people with class?
What it means is, here, Browner, see this pen right here I'm holding in my hand? Most people eat their corn on the cob, and they eat it aside, like eat it like a cross, like a typewriter, old school. Then they twist, and then they complain about all the corn in their teeth. Like, that's me. So you eat it the sideways. Whereas what they're saying is that Mookie eats corn the long way. So he's taking the corn in the cob and he's putting it in his mouth. They're indicating that they're using the corn as a phallic symbol, Browner. Okay. So Mookie eats corn the long way is a classy sign. But then here's what happens. On Saturday night, these Padre fans show up with that hilarious sign. Then Sunday, in a series that's tied 1 apiece, in the top of the 9th with the Padres closer on the hill, here comes Mookie Betts. Here's what happens. Hader, pitch, Mookie, swing, ball out in deep left field. Gone.
There's some long corn for you right there.
Game tied at 2. And when the game was over and the Dodgers won the game and the series, ESPN interviewed Mookie Betts. You talk about like funny. Here's how Mookie accepted the sign that he eats corn the long way.
I seen the best sign I've ever seen yesterday, and I don't know if I can really say it on air, but it was a great sign.
Can you paraphrase what it said?
I mean, it just said Mookie Betts eats corn the long way. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was very creative, and shout out to whoever made that sign.
Shout out whoever made that sign. Now, was that classy? That sign? Or was the way that Mookie Betts handled that sign classy? And by the way, wasn't it funny? Tell you what wasn't funny is the Padres losing 2 out of 3 at home to the Dodgers.
And the second game in the 9th inning.
Right, and how the Dodgers didn't really do anything in the offseason to add any major star power. In fact, the opposite, they lost a bunch of star power to lose a guy like Justin Turner and to have a guy like Max Muncy move over to third and lead baseball in home runs. To lose their first and their second, shortstop, and to be playing like their third guy. They lost a lot of star power, and they just walked down into San Diego and beat the Padres twice.
And it was the series where they easily could have won if they just could have got a hit or two. That's all it was. It wasn't like the Dodgers went out there. It wasn't like the Dodgers went out there and were crushing the ball. They was at 5-2 on Friday, 2-1 on Saturday, and you were leading 2-1 with 2 outs in the top of the 9th. So it wasn't like the Dodgers came in here and absolutely pounded you, but the way it finished on Sunday, it feels that way. It feels like they came in here and crushed you, because honestly, now you had to jump on a plane and fly all the way to Minnesota right after the game too. It was a gut punch, man.
Those are not the type of losses that you want to walk away from going, we'll get them next time. Like that one will sit with you. Like that one will sit with them on the way to Minnesota because you were two strikes, not outs. You were 2 strikes away from taking a 2-1 series, and the 2 games you won, the second one was that would have been a commanding win from beginning to end against still a very good lineup. You gave up a run, great outing by Musgrove. And who knows? If Buddy can,
and you only gave that run up because your left fielder can't catch.
Thank you.
Well, yeah,
if Buddy
that's
can
the other
catch the
part
ball in left field, you might not have even had that problem.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those games where you pretty much dominated from the beginning up into 2 strikes in the 9th inning with 2 outs, and then everything got away from you. So that's one of those that one hurts. That as a fan of the team, hoping that they do well, that one hurt to watch. But the whole
really,
idea
to
about
me,
they got another shot. They got another shot this weekend at the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium.
But what I think that really compounds the loss on what adds more, brutalness to it is that what we saw Saturday and Sunday is what we've seen all year. They just can't get hits. And are they facing? I mean, is Dustin May play that good so far this year? I really don't know. He pitched lights out on Saturday though.
His record will tell you that things are going really well for him versus Blake Snell's record.
And then Blake Snell made one mistake. One mistake on Saturday. And Chris Taylor, who always seems to come up huge for them.
Right.
But on yesterday, you jump out 2 runs against Urias, and you're like, oh, this is great. This guy's been lights out. He just came off one of the best starts of his career, and now you got 2 runs in the first, so we're going to keep this going. And literally, you get one more hit off him the rest of the game, and you do nothing against the bullpen, who has had their own issues this year, and you couldn't get a single hit off their closer back-to-back games. It was just like,
what I will say is this, though. What I will say is this: the silver lining in this weekend is Tatis is back.
Yeah,
he's their best player, and it's not even close. Yeah. He's their best player. I think he went amazing.
6 for 12 this weekend, maybe 6 for 13. Obviously, the 2 home runs on Friday, yesterday, defensively looking great. Like, absolutely, Browner. The only thing that I take away from the series, like positive-wise, not the only thing, because I do like how Musgrove looked, and I do like how Snell looked.
They pitched 2 great games.
Yeah, and Darvish too.
Yes,
the starting pitching was good, very good. But yes, Tatis is back. Like that dude is back.
Yeah.
He's hitting 290. He's got a bunch of home runs already, and he seems to show up almost night in, night out with something.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he you guys are right on. You guys are and on a team where Manny hasn't really done much yet this year. Soto it's a glaring issue. Bogarts has probably been better than advertised.
Yeah, but he's cooled off significantly.
No doubt.
And I guess
looks great defensively, though.
He picked something up in Chicago, is what the broadcast said a few games ago. Some bug that he just can't kick, but he has gone from hitting 340 to 280 pretty quickly.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is Tatis right now is standing out amongst all these stars and amongst all these hundreds of millions of dollars that have been spent. Tatis is standing out because he's up here and Soto's down here.
All of them seem to be down there.
Right, but all the hype on Soto, and to see him yesterday run to his right, have a ball that should be really, honestly, for any major league starting outfielder, if I put you in right field, that's an everyday fly ball for any major league right fielder. He wasn't doing anything special. He wasn't showing off that he's one of the fastest guys in baseball. There's nothing about it. He missed the ball. The ball hit him in the glove. Hey, look, NFL wide receivers drop touchdown passes when they're wide open. It absolutely happens. For a player of his caliber to drop a ball that is really just a routine fly ball, in my opinion, is routine I don't have to move and I can just stand here and catch it, or is routine that's a play that everybody's supposed to make?
Yeah.
He didn't lose it in the
sun. And it directly cost you a run because the next batter got like even though somehow whoever the scorekeeper is at Petco gave that Soto drop a double instead of an error.
Come on, dude. Really?
What are you doing?
Come on. That's some home cooking right there. But literally the next batter drives him in and costs you a run.
Yeah. I will say this, though.
Very fun series in general, though.
Yes, it was.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't know. I don't know where you were before the game Saturday, Scott.
Yep.
We hit up 2 bars off Market near the stadium. And listen, Dodger fans can talk all the trash they want about Padres and how the series don't matter and we're bigger than you and this, all that. Saturday at about 4, there was a massive, and I mean, and I believe they're all sitting in like up right field by Western Middle, a massive parade of Dodger fans, literally a parade of the way they showed up to Houston the first time after the whole World Series thing came out. Remember how they had a parade like that in Houston?
Yeah.
That happened in downtown.
Yeah. I think the group, there's a name for the group.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, when we saw them, we were diagonal, and I couldn't I was a little too far to get a good video of it, but when they started and the booing from the people around them, we're like, what's going on over there? And I just saw a big banner in the front, and I was like, oh, that Dodger group that goes to some games, not the games that matter. The big games that matter, they go to. When I tell you this parade went for 10 minutes of just Dodger fans just going down whatever street that was 7th, it was a lot. Like a lot. And I looked at my Dodger fans and I looked at my buddies and I was like, I thought this wasn't a rivalry. Look at that.
Yeah.
You're doing that in Cincinnati?
It is, man. I love it. It is.
I know.
Man.
And look,
and the Dodger players know it is too.
And I saw a lot of Dodger fans on social media saying that it's not, and that they're turned off by how ESPN is trying to grow it into something that it's really not. But it is. And you can say that it's not. But when you call another team little brother, okay, it's because you anticipate beating them all the time. Anyway,
Carl Ravitch doesn't need to ask Mookie Betts like what's the bigger rival. We know what the bigger rivalry is. Yankees, Red Sox.
His answer was interesting though.
But he was like, it's more hostile over there. But it is. He's like it's growing since he's been here. It's grown.
Yeah. So I got to say to the Dodger fans, I'm super impressed. I got to say to the Padre fans, I'm a little surprised. For years, we talked about Dodger fans taking over Petco Park the same way, Niner fans take over SoFi for Rams games, the same way Raider fans take over Charger games, or really any opponent takes over
every stadium they go to.
But the thing is, I thought this year, coming off the win in the postseason last year against the Dodgers and all the hype around the Padres this year, and every game just looking beautiful on TV because it's jam-packed. I mean, yesterday on ESPN, you talk about why you want an NFL team in your town. I mean, what ESPN did for San Diego last night was just one giant infomercial. But I got to say, on Saturday night when the Dodgers scored, dude, you thought you were at Dodger Stadium. I mean, all of the third base line, I'm not going to say, I mean, not 100%, but it was packed with Dodger fans where they always take over, and it was loud. And I was like, oh, man, I was wrong, because I really thought the Padre fans would, dominate, create a home field advantage. Dodger fans showed up. I mean, Alex, what was your perspective inside the ballpark on Saturday night?
Where I was at, it was mainly Padres fans. But there was I saw that group. We were looking for them because we're like, where are they all sitting? And you could see them literally to the left of the Western Meadow at the top in the 300 sections. But from where I was standing in center field in the pier out there, it was mainly Padre fans. And yeah, there was a decent amount of Dodger fans on Saturday. I did read in the UT though that yesterday was really, really bad. Like yesterday was at least in the UT write-up, they said it was more Dodger fans clearly than Padre fans.
Wow. All right. Stick around, everybody. We got more to get to on this. I got to move over to the NBA, though, because Lakers Warriors tonight. But beyond that, what happened this past weekend? I got to get to all of that, too. So stick with us. We're just like, I don't know. We got so much to get to. We'll never get to all of it. Hang around. We're in the 7 Mile Casino studio, 7milecasino.com. This is Kaplan and Crew.
Hi, welcome to OG's.
Touching down this football season at OG's has never looked better. You can now eat pizza, drink beer, and earn rewards at select OG's locations. You won't miss a live game when you're watching at OG's. We're going all out, all game, all season long.
From New York City comes America's longest running and most popular rugby show. The biggest names in Major League Rugby, MLR highlights, and big match previews. Rugby Wrap-Up presents MLR Weekly, made in New York City.
Kaplan and Crew Tonight is brought to you by OG Sports Brewhouse Pizza, where you can eat pizza, drink beer, and earn rewards.
All right, great friends. Hey, we welcome you back inside the 7 Mile Casino studios, 7milecasino.com. As promised, the head coach of the San Diego State basketball team, I'm wasting no time at all. Coach Brian Dutcher returns to Kaplan and Crew. Coach, how are you today?
Top of the world. I'm throwing out the first pitch tonight, so I'm good.
That is so cool. Have you ever thrown out a first pitch?
No, no, I haven't. I haven't won enough to throw out a first pitch. I guess I finally won enough to get a throw out one.
And have you?
You better get that arm ready there.
Yeah. Have you practiced at all, Coach?
No, I remember when Matt Story used to take Coach Fisher out and they throw some warm ups, but I'm just going to lob it up there. I'm not trying to throw heat or anything.
You do know, though, that everybody's watching. Like, if it's a good one, we're all going to go, wow, great job, Coach. But if it's really bad, I mean, everybody's going to have this video. I mean, no pressure.
No, I saw Pete Kelsey bounce one in this week, so I already know what it is.
Oh, yeah. And you should have seen Browner here down at the Chula Vista Little League this past Saturday. Also couldn't get to the plate.
Maybe I'll just set one on like T-ball. I'll set one on a tee.
Coach, the obvious place to start is huge congratulations to you, your players, the program, San Diego State as an institution, all the players that came before this group that contributed to the growth of the program. Huge congratulations. How different is your life 10 days after the Final Four in the national championship game?
You know, Scott, I'm so used to working that we got back on Tuesday. I was in the office Wednesday morning, and we're recruiting. We're trying to build next year's team. So as much as I enjoyed it, I'm not a guy that ever over-celebrates anything, even though it's something to be celebrated. I've got my eyes on next year and trying to put a team together that can be really good again.
Have you had a chance to think at all about, like, standing there on the floor inside a giant football stadium, knowing that you were on the biggest stage in college basketball? And as an assistant, you may have been there before a long time ago, but have you had any chance to just sort of think about what happened in those couple of days in Houston?
I always say, like, I'm a guy that likes to almost sit back and watch everybody enjoy the experience, but I enjoyed it myself too. You know, I told my assistant coaches on that elevated floor, I said, I'll see you guys at halftime. Make some notes. So it's a different experience to be up there and coaching on that stage on the biggest platform, and truly a platform, and just watching, taking the time to look out into the crowd and seeing all the great Aztec fan base there to enjoy it. First time experience for all of us, me as a head coach, San Diego State as a participant in the city of San Diego, and just watch everybody kind of celebrate that moment, but at the same time, trying to figure out how to win games.
Yeah, it was an amazing run. It really was. Coach, just I'd love to hear what you were thinking when Butler hit the shot that moved San Diego State from the Final Four to the championship game. Could you just go back to what was going on prior to that? Because everybody talked about there's still a timeout. Will he take it? Jim Nantz made mention on national TV. He doesn't have his shooters on the floor. Could you just go back to that sequence and what you were doing?
Yeah, it was like the possession before. We were down 3 and brought it up the floor, and I took a timeout. And I wanted to set up a play to try to get a 3 out of a sideline out of bounds. And if we didn't have the 3, throw it to Jaden Ledee and let him go one-on-one because he just scored one-on-one. And then we scored that basket. I took another timeout, and I looked at the time difference on the clock, and I felt even if they shot the ball, we'd have enough time to get down the length of the floor. And I told him at that time, we are not taking a timeout. And I said, we don't have shooters on the floor. I have 3 bigs on the floor. So cause a miss, get the rebound, get it to Lamont, make sure they're not doubling back trying to intercept that pass. And then you 3 bigs run to the rim, because if he misses, we'll have 3 bigs in to tip it in. And then Micah Parrish, you find space in case he needs to kick for a 3. And so I kind of had a thought in my mind what I wanted to do. But obviously players make the plays in March. Lamont made a magnificent play. They cut him off. He kind of crossed over, came back, and shot a beautiful pull-up jump shot to make me look good as a coach and us look good as a team.
Coach, what made this team different from the other 2 teams that you got to the Sweet 16? Obviously, you played UConn, you played big teams in those tournaments as well. But what separated this team from advancing? Like when you beat Alabama, and I think a lot of people thought you could beat Alabama, but when you did it, and then you had this crazy game against FAU, what made this team different as opposed to the other ones you've had in the past?
Yeah, this is the greatest team in Aztec history because of how far they went and what they did. I'm not sure it's the best team. So there's a difference. I mean, that Kawhi Leonard team with Malcolm Thomas, Billy White, DJ Gay, that was a team capable of winning a national championship. The X-Thames team with Poe Lee and J.J. O'Brien, Josh Davis, Skylar Spencer, that was a really good team too. But sometimes it's just the path lays out. You win games. And I'm just thinking back, like the other 5 seed was St. Mary's. They played UConn in the second round. What if we're that 5 seed and we play UConn in the second round and get beat? And we're talking about, hey, great, Dutcher got his first tournament win. But it just laid out for us where the path wasn't easy, but we took advantage of the path we had.
Coach, you have had the governor of California tweet about you, the vice president tweet about you, and you've got you guys had the city on fire for the program. How has that changed anything that you're doing going forward, and has it opened the door for the recruiting process to become a little bit bigger and a little bit better?
This is the talk we had back when we had Kawhi Leonard, Malcolm Thomas, Billy White. We won at such a level, they said, well, boy, you're really going to be able to go out and get some players now. We have players that just went to the national championship game. So we'll continue to recruit how we do. Recruit guys with chips on their shoulders that have a lot of potential, that are about the right things. And I like the way we've recruited over the years. So we'll continue to do what we do. Maybe it'd put us in front of a different kid or 2. But for the most part, we've got good enough players in this program to win in any conference and at any level.
Talking to Coach Brian Dutcher this afternoon. It's Kaplan and Crew, and Coach Dutcher is with us. We're still talking about this San Diego State run. And, Coach, I was telling the guys, we're not going to stop. You know, I want to keep talking to these kids. I want them to be known commodities in this town. We know their names, want to know their stories, want to know more about these guys. Because like you said, by virtue of what they accomplish, it's the greatest San Diego State basketball team ever. It doesn't necessarily mean it was the most talented or the best, but I want to keep going with these guys because they really did something special. And I just got to say that this Final Four run, it really entranced the whole city was into it. Like I've never seen anything like it before. And when Butler hit that shot, coach, that is like one of the top 5 moments in the history of San Diego sports. Does everybody have a grasp on that quite yet?
No, and they asked me at the time how big Butler's shot was. I said, if we win the whole thing, they'll remember it nationally forever, but it'll never be forgotten in San Diego. So that shot will live in San Diego for as long as San Diego State is playing basketball and the city embraces college basketball. So it was an incredible moment. Nationally, it'll be remembered, but not like it would have if we won the whole thing.
Yeah, that's true. One of the best things is there's a picture of Lamont Butler and he's letting go of the ball. And for us, just being a little selfish, our man Alex here is standing in the background with his arms raised before the ball has even gone through the net. It was awesome.
I knew it was going in, coach. Never had a doubt in my mind. I don't know about you, but I was confident from the stands.
Well, me, I'm thinking, is there time left on the clock? What do I have to do? I mean, I put both arms up, but then I was like, what if they put 0.2 of a second on the clock? So I'm still in coach mode. And the same thing can happen against UConn. To go to the Final Four, we really didn't get to celebrate. It's like they're going to put time on the clock. I'm convinced of it. So we have no timeouts. If it's their ball, here's what we're going to do to keep Kalkbrenner from throwing to the rim and getting a lob to tip in to beat us. If it's our ball, we want to throw deep. So all we have to do is touch it. And then the refs come over and say, no more time. So it's like a anticlimactic celebration to go to the Final Four. And same thing with Florida Atlantic. It's like, I'm convinced they're going to put time on the clock. They always do. And so when that moment happened, Dusty May was trying to shake my hand before the refs ruled it good. I said, Dusty, I'm not that guy. I want to make sure they count it before, we shake hands and we start celebrating.
Coach, I thought the most impactful thing throughout the tournament was I saw your team's true identity come to the surface. The amount of defense, the 40 minutes of defense from end to end that your team was able to play throughout each game, you could see it was frustrating these other teams you guys were playing because they were used to guys playing like that maybe a couple minutes a game, maybe a half. But when you guys were pressuring guys like that and defending like that the entire time, I think you guys wore a lot of people down. Were you able to get the guys to see that through film study? And did they pick up on it? Or was this just something that all year you guys were doing?
It's just our culture. Like when we do a shooting drill early in the year, like we want to make 120 in 2 minutes or whatever that is. And if we don't make it, a lot of coaches say, okay, on the line, down and back. And I'll say, okay, on the line, we're going to do some defensive slides. We're going to do shuffles. We're going to do this and that. Because I tell them there's games where as open as we are, the ball's not going to go in. How are we going to win those games? When we're wide open, it's a great shot. It doesn't go in. Those are the games we're going to win with our defense. So it's just a mindset. It's a culture that we're going to be defense first. And as open as we are, sometimes the ball does not go in. And we're one of a handful of teams that are going to win games when the ball doesn't go in.
See, going into this tournament, Coach, and you know this well, but the country learned about it. Going into the tournament, you were 0-3 in the NCAA tournament as a head coach at San Diego State. Now you're 5-4.
One over 500. That's not very good.
Well, hey, it's better than being under 500. It's better than being 0-3. That all happened in one tournament. And what I thought was really interesting is how we have gotten the chance to see the development of the program. For a lot of America, people are like, wow, San Diego State. And then what they start to do is they say this, Brian Dutcher, one of the top college basketball coaches in the country. Like they start to talk about you differently. Are you a much better coach at 5-4 in the NCAA tournament than you were when you were an 0-3 record?
Well, hopefully I'll get paid like a better coach. But
Hey-o,
coach I've always been. Richard, our sports information director, I asked Richard because I didn't know. I said, how many NCAA tournament games have I been on the bench? Not head coach, been on the bench. I think it was like 56 NCAA tournament games. So I just say now I'm 63. I know a lot more at 63 than I knew at 53, than I knew at 43, than I knew at 33. Even though at that time I thought I knew everything. So if you can survive in this business, those experiences pay off. And so I chose my path wisely. I knew I wanted to retire as a coach. Sometimes you think you're going to be the coach that takes a lesser school and resurrects it. And in 3 years, you're out of work and you can't find a job. So I thank Coach Fisher for keeping me along for that ride for so long. And, I was patient until I got the job I wanted, which was this one.
Yeah.
I want to ask a very open-ended question to you, Coach, and it maybe has to do with pay, maybe has to do with assistants, maybe has to do with conference. What is the future of this program now? Obviously the rumors of Pac-12, Big 12 realignment, assistant coaches could get poached when you make a national championship run. We all know which players are coming and which players are leaving. What is the future of this program?
We've been in the Mountain West my whole time here, and I always say we're a high major program in a non-Power 5 conference. I'm trying to paint us like Gonzaga. Gonzaga's in the WCC, but they're looked at as a high major program. I think the West Coast always believed that San Diego State plays high major basketball, but now the nation's kind of been made aware of that. So I think it's upped our branding in the nation. West Coast, it's always been good. So if we make a conference move, I'm not stressed over it. I know we're a good enough program to survive wherever we end up. And whether it's in the Mountain West, we'll continue to have a high major program in the Mountain West. If we're in the Pac-12 or Big 12, our intention is just to compete at the highest level in those conferences. So those all happen at a level beyond me. Whatever decisions are made by John David Wicker and President De La Torre, I'm in support of, and wherever we end up, whether it's staying here or moving on, we'll be ready for that challenge.
Coach, you guys have you spoke about this actually when the interview first began about getting back to the business of coaching. You were already recruiting again. With the transfer portal being such a vital process to San Diego State before it became a national thing, before guys started talking about all this talks about transfer portal, you guys were already locked in and recruiting that way, using transfers to build the program. Now that everybody is such a focal point of the transfer portal, has it changed the way that you guys operate within it?
It's all NIL. NIL is everything in the portal right now. And, some of these players are being offered $260,000. If you're a big center, you might get $1 million, like a Dickinson or a kid at Kentucky. And so there's a lot of money being thrown around in the portal. And so we have to navigate that. We're not throwing that money away. We're not paying like that.
Yeah. Hey, Coach Dutcher, congratulations to you, to your family, to the program, to the players, et cetera. Really amazing job. We really appreciate you always. And thanks for doing this with us today. And by the way, good luck with your first pitch tonight at the Padres game.
Well, the only way you'll see it is if I throw it in the dirt.
Kind of rooting for that, just like a little bit.
I know. I knew if anybody would be, it'd be you.
Hey, Coach, we appreciate you. Thank you so much, and congrats.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Kaplan and Crew Tonight is brought to you by OG Sports Brewhouse Pizza, where you can eat pizza, drink beer, and earn rewards.
Dominating the SoCal radio airwaves for over 20 years. Join Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner for Kaplan and Crew every Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. only on the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk, and the Mightier1090.com.
Hi, welcome to OG's.
Touching down this football season at OG's has never looked better. You can now eat pizza, drink beer, and earn rewards at select OG's locations. You won't miss a live game when you're watching at OG's. We're going all out, all game, all season long.
Murray Lampert now brings architectural and interior design to a whole new level for your remodel, ADU, or whole house build.
We're truly a team at Murray Lampert Design Build Remodel, and we don't take that lightly.
Visit murraylampert.com.
All right, great friends. Hey, what's happening? It is a Monday afternoon. This is Kaplan and Crew with Grande and the Brown Man. We are in the 7 Mile Casino Studios. 7milecasino.com is their website. And shout out to our people from 7 Mile Casino who last Thursday night hosted us for our comedy show and our dinner. And everybody, guys, has sent me emails or direct messages or whatever to tell me what a great time they had last night, or last Thursday night. And I did too. I loved it. I'm telling you, I have one complaint to 7 Mile Casino. And that is that when we got done at the comedy show, I wanted to go play blackjack. I couldn't get on a table. Place was packed. People love it. The issue is the food is too good. That's the problem. Food is too damn good at 7 Mile Casino. Because then you're like, well, where am I going to go play? And then you decide, well, who's got the best combination of food, location, tables, smoke-free, the whole deal. That's 7 Mile Casino, 7 minutes south of downtown San Diego. All right, guys, we talked a lot of Padres, Dodgers from this past weekend. Alex, you see any problems in the stands? Were Padre fans and Dodger fans well behaved? I will admit, when I'm sitting in that front row seat, dude, at the breaks in between innings, I got to stand up and turn around and take in the whole ballpark. Because when you're in that front row seat, and I only get there once or twice a year, but when you're in that front row seat, you don't realize that there's 40,000 people behind you, essentially.
Right.
You're in the front row. I don't know if you saw it on Instagram. I think I posted on Instagram. I put a picture on Instagram. I had my phone sitting in front of me. I was watching the Lakers Warriors. And in real life, I was watching the Padres Dodgers. There's Mookie Betts standing right in front of me. There's Freddie Freeman standing right here. There's Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis. And here's LeBron James on my phone.
Yeah. I mean, it was such a beatdown by the Lakers that we didn't even bother. Besides, we just kept checking the score. We didn't even bother trying to watch it. I will say on Saturday, about inning 6 or 7, I had my phone ready because there was some people around me where I was like, okay, this is going to go down soon. And when it happens, I want it for the show. So there was 3 Padre fans standing, in the pier, there's some tables out there and you can kind of just sit, and they were using them to stand up, not the table, but the chairs, because it was so crowded.
Where was this at?
In center field, the pier on center field.
Okay. Got it.
And there was some Dodger fans to my left, and one of the Dodger fans happened to be wearing sunglasses. It was already nighttime, and the Padre fans started giving him crap about wearing sunglasses at night. And little man,
do people give Kevin Hart a hard time about wearing sunglasses at Laker games?
I think it's the lamest thing ever. But
you do?
Yeah, it's so stupid.
What about LeBron? When LeBron wears sunglasses, is that cool?
Especially when he was on the bench when he was hurt. It's super lame. But I call him little man because he was a little dude. I'm not calling him trying to be disrespectful. Like, my man was little, and he was wearing sunglasses. He was a Dodger fan, and he had a lot. I wasn't counting, but he had a lot. And when he heard him, he had a big friend go up to this table, and I was like, oh, here we go. Like, here we go. I got my phone out, and I was like, here we go. Literally, like, table next to him, and I'm like discreetly trying to not egg him on at all, but I was like, there's no way I'm gonna miss this thing. Like, this is front row. This is my Canelo fight because I'm gonna miss it. So big man did a very, very, very good job of going up to him like he was about to slap all of them, all the Padre fans. But then they just went back and forth for the final game, just talking trash to each other, and that was it. I was like, man, that was a tease, because I thought Big Man was going over there to really settle stuff, but little man was being held back for 3 innings, and I was like, dude, you're not going to do anything. If your lady's holding you back, you're not going to do anything right now. So, but as I walked back and forth from the restroom, the beer stand in center field, there was a lot of trash talking out there, and a lot of heated trash talking. I don't know if it got escalated anywhere. I haven't seen any videos, but yeah, it was heated out there for sure.
The trash talking, it's like we've talked about how NBA players get fans thrown out of games for talking trash,
Yeah.
And the politically correct thing to say is, you can't say that. Just because you buy a ticket doesn't entitle you to say whatever you want to these guys. And I'm like, just block it out, dude. Just block it out. I mean, be a pro out there. But I was on Friday night. I was up at this event in Anaheim, and I went to this Rangers Angels game. And when the broadcast ended at this restaurant, we're like, okay, well, we're all going to the Angels game. And a whole bunch of people wound up walking together from the broadcast to the Angels game. And there's this one guy, and he's wearing this Dodgers hat, right? And he said to me, in an attempt at kind of being joking, he's like, man, I should punch you in the face for being a Padres fan. Like that. Like that was like he was thinking that it was kind of like a funny thing to say. And I was taking it like, I should probably beat your ass for even saying that to me right now, but I'm not going to beat up a listener, but why do people say things like that? Like, he's standing right next to me. This isn't a guy 6 rows into the stands that, that Russell Westbrook hears and goes, get him out. He called me Westbrook. Like, this guy told me he should punch me in the face just for being a Padres fan. Brown, how would you have responded to that?
I'd have looked over and said, wow, whoop your ass. Who you talking to? fan my ass. All right, you finna get a real up close edition of Brown Man. Hand edition. Pop, pop, pow. 2-piece biscuit. No slobber on the side. When I knock your ass out, there's a drink. Bam. What's wrong with you? You should punch me for being a Padres fan. I'll whoop your ass, bro. Don't come in my face with that madness. I'm trying to enjoy myself, bro. Is there a mic anywhere around here? Go on, bro. This ain't the show. It's real life. I'm in real life. I'm telling y'all right now, just so y'all hear me clearly. So we don't ever get this confused. Y'all see me out at a game. Y'all see me out. Feel free to come up and say hi, take a picture. I love every person who's ever come up to me about this show, even the ones who disagree with what I said. That makes the conversations even better. And those people know because I've had like legit 10, 5-minute conversations with them. But if you ever come up to me saying you're going to throw any type of physical action towards me, I'm going to beat your ass. I'm just telling you right now.
I'm not man enough to say that. Like I'm not man enough to say to him, hey, look, hey, excuse me. Listen, hey, bro. Just you and me here for a second. Please don't talk to me that way. Like don't make like little idle threats, okay? Like just like it's not cool. You know, like instead of being like, he's like, man, I should just punch you in the face for being a Padres fan. I'm like, okay.
You don't know me like that, bro. You don't know me like that.
So I'm going to keep an eye on this guy because if he's stupid drunk and thinks it's funny, I'm going to have to do some major damage here. Things are going to have to kick a little ass. I'm going to have to break out some old guy on him.
I mean, I wouldn't say I wouldn't put you in the category of major damage.
You don't.
You were
really?
Nah. You're in the hold me back category.
Oh, I'm in the hold me back.
Yeah, you the NBA fight type.
Man, you saw your seat on Saturday. You're not really the kind of guy that you're not sitting in the 300s. You're not sitting in the outfield.
Right.
Yeah.
You listen. You sit like this is why you the NBA fight. You sit where before a punch is thrown, security will be there.
Yeah,
that's an NBA situation.
I also
hold me back. But if you sit in the 300s, that's no man's land. But you got to fight to survive up there until security gets there. Totally different.
Really, the 300 section's like the Gen Pop of prison?
Bro, listen, Gen Pop 300 section in any stadium. You will get your ass whooped before anybody can come help you in the 300 section. Don't be talking crazy unless you ain't
all of our fight videos don't come from courtside. They come from very, very high. So
none of them.
I will say this from life experience, Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did he threaten you, but the mere comment of what he said was an insult to you because you only tell people those things that you think you can beat up.
Oh.
Ooh,
so
yeah, that's true.
So that guy said that to you, thinking, I can beat this guy up. He wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
He would never say that to someone he thinks he can't beat up.
Yeah.
He hit you with that. You look bigger on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, hey, listen, I can't really say that I'm like some super tough guy and that I want any smoke of any kind. Okay.
You know, on TV, your hands look bigger. So he probably saw you in person, saw your little hands. It was like, I can whoop him. Yeah.
This reminds me of an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where Larry was in a doctor's office and there's this like neo-Nazi guy sitting in the waiting room and he looks over at him and he says, "What are you looking at?" You know, and Larry, rather than, and he, by the way, he made like an anti-Semitic remark. "What are you looking at?" Right. And Larry just like totally doesn't know what to do. Larry goes home to Leon, his BFF, this cool black guy.
His sounding board.
Right. And he tells him the story. He goes, yeah. He goes, I'm sitting there in the waiting room and this neo-Nazi guy looks over at me and he says, "What are you looking at?" And then he calls him this anti-Semitic slur. And so Leon says, "Well, what did you do?" And Larry's like, nothing. Nothing. In fact, I think he told him he slunked. And Leon said, "You slunked? What does that mean?" He goes, I just didn't do anything. He goes, "Oh, you got punked," or something like that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Leon explains to Larry, next time that happens, and presumably there will be a next time, you get in his ass, Larry. You get in his ass. You open it up, you spray paint. Larry was here. You eat a Snicker bar. You throw the wrapper on the ground. You walk out. You close that thing up. He knows you're there. And Larry's like, "That's what I'm supposed to do?" Like, this is Browner now giving me advice on what I'm supposed to do.
That's right. Don't you take nothing from nobody like that, bro. Don't nobody tell you, especially in them seats. And them seats, oh, bro, you could have got big chest.
No. This was Friday night. This was in Anaheim. I was in center field. I was in the worst seats in the place. Theoretically,
that's 300.
How did Ohtani do, by the way, on Friday?
That's 300, like 300 the movie.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, hey, it's funny you guys say this because what happened yesterday in the NBA between the Suns and the Nuggets was ultra entertaining for me. I freaking loved Jokic getting a technical foul for forearming the owner of the Suns. And I'm going to talk about that in just 1 minute. I'm literally going to talk about it in 1 minute. But I just want to remind everybody, if you are right now planning on moving because you're trying to buy a house in a new neighborhood with a school where you want your kids to go, and maybe that means you're also selling your house at the same time. I got to sell it because then we got to move because we're trying to find this school. Then we got to sell it to then go buy it. How am I going to do all this? Don't stress yourself out. You deal with Gary Cooper. He's been with the show for 20 years. He helped me buy and sell my first home. He helped Alex buy his first home. And he's got a program now that he talked about last week that I'd not heard of before, which is a full 100% loan. So on a house or a property under 700,000+, you can finance the whole thing. And if you're renting right now and you want to get into home ownership, and I tell you, you don't need 20% to put down, you're like, tell me more. Call Gary. He can. 858-376-1299, 858-376-1299. Gary Cooper, Mountain Trust Realty Services. So I'm watching this game yesterday. I'm watching the Padres Dodgers on one TV. I'm watching the Florida Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs because now all of a sudden hockey's getting exciting on another TV. And I got this Phoenix Denver game on a third TV. I was sitting at a bar in Solana Beach yesterday afternoon, having a salad, by the way. Just wanted to put that out there. Whenever you're sitting in a bar on a Sunday, you got a problem? No, I'm having a salad, watching 3 games at once.
What's wrong with going to a bar on Sunday?
I don't know. Kind of made it sound like, like I'm like, I don't know, heavily drinking myself into a mess on a Sunday afternoon.
I do walk around my neighborhood on a Monday or Tuesday and see people out at bars. And I was like, I don't know what you got going on in your life, but I'm pretty jealous of that fact because I don't do that.
I
like
see
out on a Monday, out on a
not
Tuesday.
me.
I mean, Taco Tuesday, but out on a Monday, damn.
I see you in the bar on the Monday early. I'm sad for you.
No, I'm not sad. I'm like, what do you do for a living? Are you hiring?
Whatever it is you do that has you in a bar on a Monday, I want to do what you do.
Yes.
Right. Well, let me do this. Let me go to this this story though.
Yeah.
So when Jokic pushes the owner of the Suns, and when I say pushes
already, I was gonna say already.
Let me just say this. I just want to say this though. I told you earlier, I was watching the game in a bar where the sound wasn't on. I'm telling my girlfriend's like, oh my God, I can't believe what's going on here. You would see this. And then they keep showing the owner of the Suns. And my girlfriend's going, oh my God, this guy is getting so much FaceTime. Like the whole country's watching this and his phone's probably blowing up. And I'm like, hold on. I think the bigger story here is I think that's the new owner of the Suns. But if you're Jokic, A, do you know who he is? Number one. B, do you care? And C, he's sitting in the seats and he's got the ball. And I don't know, man. It's kind of like everybody would know who Mark Cuban is. Everybody would know who Steve Ballmer is or who Jeannie Buss is. But not everybody knows who this guy is. He just bought the team. And especially if you're the opposing team, but even if you do know who he is, who cares?
Give me the ball.
Right. If it's me, a nobody, and I'm sitting courtside and I have the ball and I try and hold the ball and an NBA player pushes me, I'm just a regular old guy. Well, in that instance, so's the owner of the Suns. He's just a regular old dude. Show us the video of what happened yesterday.
Okay, so I will say the video that I'm about to show you first, it does look more of an elbow than what you saw on television. But here's both clips that I found from that push. So that one everybody saw. It looks like a massive flop, right?
It is a total flop by the owner.
Then you look at that angle. And now
he pushed him.
Yeah, he pushed him.
He pushed him. I mean, he's a 7-foot, 270-pound guy.
Yeah.
And the owner of the Suns, who I think played college basketball at Michigan State, he's a smaller guy. He's like 6 feet tall. But my favorite part is is that when Jokic pushes him, he goes down with his hands up. Like the owner of the Suns legitimately theatrically flopped. And there's a guy, the funny thing is there's a guy who comes over his shoulder. He's a white guy wearing a black like golf shirt, and he kind of pushes Jokic. And that guy, I'll tell you right now, I could have sworn that's the same guy from a few weeks ago that got into it with Russell Westbrook. That guy in the bottom of the screen.
Oh, it could be.
Funny. Yeah, maybe.
I'm almost sure that was the guy, And so should Jokic have gotten a technical foul? I don't think so, man.
You have to give him a technical. You have to, because the fan didn't put his hands on Jokic. Jokic purposely in the stands and then put his hands on the fan. Now, it helps that the fan was the owner, because if that's not the owner of the team, then he's out. Because you can see security going, Nugget security went him, and him.
Yes, because the guy who's the white guy with the black golf shirt who touches Jokic after he pushes, security came and took him out.
They took out another guy too. And so
the owner of the Suns, he wasn't getting kicked out.
But that's why I love you. Go ahead.
The referee goes, no, that's the owner.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, the other two guys got to go. He said, okay. But that one guy has the owner. He not going nowhere. Like,
but I love what both the coach of the Nuggets and what Jokic said was spot on. In that moment, Matt Ishbia is a fan.
Yes.
He's not an owner. He's a fan.
He's just sitting there.
He's sitting there. Because honestly, I guarantee you, because Mike Malone in post-game press conference didn't even know it was the Suns owner. I guarantee you, Jokic had no idea who that dude was. He just saw a little white guy, and he was like, "The hell are you, dude?" And he know what I'm saying?
You know how lucky the owner of the Suns is that the two psycho brothers weren't nearby and came over and started throwing dudes across the court.
Time out. Okay, because I keep seeing those in there. Let me address something real quick about these two dudes. All right.
What?
Look, man, his brothers are big. Okay.
Yeah.
This is America. Folks get whooped all the time here. Okay. Folks get whooped all the time here. I don't care what you do for a living over in Eastern Europe, bro. You Eastern Europe tough. That's cool.
That's
got
tough people here. Gets, bro.
What are they going? What is Matt Ishbia going to kick the Jokic brothers' asses?
Did you see where Jokic got the NBA MVP award last year?
On a horse,
a freaking horse,
bro.
Those dudes are tough from Serbia, bro.
They're tough. They're tougher than owners in the NBA. Here's what he said.
They
could
get whooped too.
Here's what he said after the game.
Not by Matt Ishbia.
Yeah, right. not by the dudes that were sitting in the front row.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Browner.
Yeah. I mean, maybe
Nikola,
you and your friend.
What happened when you went out to get the ball on the side, and what was the explanation they gave you for giving you that technical foul?
He told me I was elbowing the fan. So, but the fan put the hand on me first. So I thought the league's supposed to protect us or whatever. So, but maybe I'm wrong. So we will see.
Did you happen to know who the fan was?
He's a fan of. He's on the. I know who is, but he's a fan, isn't he? He's a sitting
Phoenix Suns owner.
Sitting on the court, and he's a fan, isn't he?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that he's a. So whoever it is, and he's a fan, he cannot influence the game by holding the ball.
Do you worry that this may lead to a fine or suspension or anything?
Why?
Like that? Just if the NBA official said that he thought you shoved him.
Mm-hmm. So, but his hands on me, so. They're not going to protect me. They're going to protect the fan. I mean, not me as a person, but I'm talking about as a player.
Yeah.
I mean, they can do whatever, of course. They don't care, but I think they're supposed to protect players.
That's a lie. He just lied. He lied at that entire. He lied right there.
Wait. All right, tell us the lie coming on the other side. Tell us the lie that he said, because I want to do this. I want to transition from this incredible story of a superstar player scoring 50-plus points in an NBA game, but getting a technical foul for forearming the owner of the opposing team. I mean, this is unbelievable drama.
Like an onion story.
Yeah, like you would not even believe this to be true, what I just said. And Browner is going to explain the lie, and then let's look ahead tonight to the Lakers and the Warriors, Game 4 of this series. We'll get to all of it and stuff we haven't even come close to yet. Stick around. This is Kaplan and Crew.
Thank you for joining us. Catch Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific every Monday through Friday. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk.